Man was not made for the Sabbath. Sabbath was made for man. And when you get that in your heart, being still and knowing God becomes a lot easier. And it becomes so much easier on those days when the battles start coming and we feel like maybe we're losing ground. When troubles happen, we can take heart knowing that God, Jesus, has already overcome those troubles. And He's told you, just trust in me, fall into my arms, be still, and know. Well, our sermon today is Be Still and Know. Who here has that on a plaque at home or on a bookmark or, yeah, probably most everybody, or on a journal? That seems to be really good that you've done on the journals. So what do you think of when you hear the words Be Still and Know?
Easier said than done.
Easier said than done. I like that. Yeah, actually, as we just read the whole passage of it, it is much easier said than done. But when we think of those words, a lot of times we think of just sitting back and relaxing, right? Resting in God's presence. Well, if you just take those words as they are, yeah, you can do that. But in the context of this passage in Psalms, it's not what God's talking about at all. In fact, it's wartime. And God has two messages. If you read through that, I want you to go back and spend some time looking at this. The two messages, one was to the enemies of God, that they didn't stand a chance. And two was for the army of God, the Israelites. It was, I got this. Take refuge in me. I am your stronghold. I will cease the war. And then the famous words is, be still and know that I am God. I am exalted among the nations. I am exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Kind of takes a little different meaning, doesn't it? Than just kicking back with our cup of coffee and some slippers on and reading our Bible. But it's much deeper than that. How awesome are those words? Because God is saying, if you trust in me, I am your refuge. I have this. We looked in John, in chapter 16, verse 33. Jesus said what? Take heart. Why? Not what you think could be still and know, because in this world you're going to have trouble. Right here in River City. Who here knows that play? Right? He doesn't say, oh, if you trust in me, everything's going to be roses. He says, nope. It's going to be tough. But take heart. Because I have overcome the world. Now, do you see the parallel there? That's what we've been looking at with the chosen, the Old Testament and the New Testament, the parallels between what was prophesied about and what Jesus fulfilled. So right here, we have in Psalms 46, the parallel of what Jesus is saying in John. Because God is our refuge. God is our ever-present help in time of need. And Jesus says, take heart, because what? I have overcome that trouble. I have overcome the world, which means you're going to have trouble. But we have somebody that we can run to, that we know is fighting our battles for us. Wow, how much of a load is that off when you know no matter what your circumstances that you're going through, that you're not in it alone. And no matter what that circumstance, no matter how bleak, no matter how dark, no matter how horrible it is, you already have someone that has told you you're going to come out victorious. Because he is victorious over that issue. That's why we can be still and know that I am God. When you think about that, be still and know. That's a pretty loaded sentence, isn't it? Know what? Know I got this. Know He is victorious. But be still and know that we can rest. The second episode of The Chosen is on Shabbat. Sounds like a big name. Do you know what Shabbat is? It's Sabbath. Yeah, it's not Mork and Mindy. Shazbat, nanu. That's what a lot of people probably think of. Sounds like a foreign language, doesn't it? And maybe for some of us, rest seems like a foreign language. Rest? What is that? See, God created Shabbat, the Sabbath, for man. We know 6 days He created the earth. The seventh day, He what? He rested. He did that. Does God need to rest? Nope. Out of the mouths of babes. Nope. He doesn't need to rest. He did it as an example. As parents, I'm sure you can think back to several times where there were things that you did that you didn't need to, but you did it as an example to model for your children. And then in the Ten Commandments, now we have to go all the way from the beginning of creation to when Moses comes on the scene. And then after he's like 80 when he gets the Ten Commandments. So what was one of the Ten Commandments, one of those top 4? Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. What does that mean? What does keeping it holy mean? That's actually another loaded question. I'm sure all of you can remember growing up, nothing was open on Sunday, was it? In fact, you even had to prepare and gas up the car on Saturday because there was a lot of gas stations that weren't even open. And we didn't have fast food places, and so you were just sunk, right? Nothing was open on Sunday. It was a day for church. It was a day for going to church, for going to Sunday school, for going to youth group, for spending time with family. All the cousins would get together, and we'd have a big dinner and take a nap. I miss those days. I really, really do. And then somewhere along the way, Satan kind of worked his way in, and all of a sudden we started popping up with more and more things that were open. And a lot of that was because people are working all the time. So now, when is somebody's Sabbath? I can tell you for now, Sunday's not mine. But it's important to take a day, regardless of when that day is, to take that time. As we're going to continue to look throughout The Chosen, I love the different stories that they pull out because it's of Jesus healing and doing things on the Sabbath. And the way they kind of portray it, it does make it look like sometimes maybe he purposely did it, and other times it's just because that's when the opportunity presented itself. And what were the Pharisees so mad about? That he was working on Sabbath. Well, now, does that what the Ten Commandments say? It doesn't say that you can't work on Sabbath. It said just to what? Remember it and keep it holy. And Jesus reminds him, he said, when he heals the man with the withered hand, or he heals the lame man that was the paralyzed man at the pool of Bethesda. He says, which of you, if you had a donkey that fell in a ditch that needed to get out, would not help the animal? Well, yeah, that was okay by Pharisee law. He says, then is not this person more important than a donkey? I thought about this today, and I saw the other irony here. God is the God of the Sabbath. And Jesus is God. So when he was literally healing on the Sabbath, you just got to love this, that they're arguing with him that God can't do what God can do. It's kind of a thing to wrap your mind around. Jesus then tells him, he says, Sabbath was not made for God. God made Sabbath for man. It's the opposite. The Sabbath was made for man as a model for rest, for keeping it holy, for keeping your focus on God. And that is really the most important thing. For doing good. So on a Sunday, if you decide that you have some extra soup and you want to go take it to the neighbor, that's keeping it holy. If you're driving home and you see somebody on the side of the road that has a flat tire or car trouble and you stop to help that person, you're keeping it holy. If you're going to the hospital to see somebody who's in need, or somebody who's just really lonely at home, you're keeping it holy. Man was not made for the Sabbath. Sabbath was made for man. And when you get that in your heart, being still and knowing God becomes a lot easier. And it becomes so much easier on those days when the battles start coming and we feel like maybe we're losing ground. When troubles happen, we can take heart knowing that God, Jesus, has already overcome those troubles. And He's told you, just trust in me, fall into my arms, be still, and know. Amen.